little park over there on the south side, Cousin Park, and also
This is the Board of Adjustment, sir.
Okay.
This is a zoning board.
Well, who can I find the information out from, sir?
I would go ahead and talk to you after.
Yeah, that would be the Parks Department after this meeting is concluded. So,
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin.
Macnamera. I'm the park board chairman. I live at 1940 South Florence Place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you listening to us, and I'll try to do it in a dignified manner. I have attended at least 3 public neighborhood meetings to address BC Franklin Park. Plus, I have attended personally 9 other meetings with 9 other parks. The impression that I have heard today is that no one's had a chance to have any input. I have been on the park board since 2000. When things were bad, money was nowhere to be had, we had no staff. We didn't sit there. We started a plan called the Master Plan, and it was in conjunction with Plan of Tulsa. Notices went out for every time that we had anything, and also in the papers and the television and so on, to come and participate and talk about what we're trying to do. We knew that we did not have funding, but we knew we could make an improvement. All through this entire process, which has been over 3 years, we have had hardly anybody from the north side to come over and participate in what we're trying to do. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Macnamera, how do you explain the fact that we don't have one person from the neighborhood here who is in favor of these modifications?
Because they are not in favor of the modifications. But this is not the entire city.
But would it not be a part for the use of that? Would it not be a park that would be utilized by the neighborhood?
Of course it would be utilized by the neighborhood. We're not closing down the park. We are taking down a building, but that has nothing to do with today. We are asking that you know, folks.
Just if you could just address.
Did we ever?
Excuse me, look, Mrs. Macnamera, if you can just address the board, and we need to get through these proceedings and make a decision. I mean,
right.
we have 3 people here.
Well, I will say this: the park board fully supports the planned amenities for BC Franklin Park. That is a water playground for the youngsters, a sports court which would give activities for the older kids, and a pavilion. These amenities dovetail exactly with their plans with the master plan. Because of funding limitations, the park department is moving to a self-directed activities where people can go and use the parks without needing operational funding for staff. Today, we ask approval for these amenities to be placed in BC Franklin Park as its appropriate use. And thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Bubenik, would you like to add anything? Anyone else from the Parks Department?
Speak for a moment.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to try to address some of the issues that were brought up that is outside of what we talked about. The building's been closed since 2002, 10 years. It's beyond repair.
Just address the board.
I understand. It's beyond.
We can have an ongoing dialogue with the audience.
It's beyond repair. We have looked at the building. We have looked at the pool in a very critical way. It cost $1.6 million in today's money to get that building up to an appropriate standard. We have $800,000. As Dale mentioned, we went to the neighborhood 3 times in a published, advertised meeting. 2 of those meetings we had very few people show up. One of those meetings we had a very good crowd show up. The gist of it was, this is our money, this is a palette of items that we have. We had the water playgrounds, it's more than a splash pad. We had shelters, we had many amenities that we were showing. What we heard was the building is not coming down, the pool's not going away, so we're not going to offer any solutions, any input on design. So what we did as a department is we looked at the rest of the city of Tulsa. We have, as Dale mentioned, a lot of other buildings are coming down in a lot of other parks. We know what's successful. The splash pads, or not splash pads, the water playgrounds, they're covered up. We understand that with kids. We understand that there's a need for shade. We're building large pavilions that most of these with seating, we've got water fountains, and we're providing landscape that will one day provide a lot of shade.
Unfortunately, though, we've heard from numerous people and other people who haven't had a chance to speak who are completely against it. So how do you respond to that?
I don't know quite how to respond to that. I mean, I think it would be a shame if we didn't do something. We have a very little amount of money. We can't save that building. We can't save the pool. $800,000 is not going to build a building. If it could build a building, we don't have the money to staff it. We would be right back where we are before.
Sure, and we understand that, but it would seem to me, and I understand that you've had 3 meetings with the neighborhood, but
we're happy to talk.
We should have countless people from the neighborhood enthusiastic about
Agreed.
The plan, and we're not.
Understood.
We're very far from that. So.
Understood. If you deny it, we can talk to the neighborhood, but nothing is going to change. The buildings will still come down. The pool is still going to go away. That is from the current administration.
Sure, that's fine. That's not what people want, but it's reality. It's reality.
Correct.
There's expense associated
Correct.
with it, and that's between the Parks Department.
Correct.
And the citizens of
We're
Tulsa.
happy to sit down and talk with the neighborhood and get some positive input on what the community needs and what they desire.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I will add.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Lucy Dolman, 172 2nd City Hall, Park Department Director. And what I would like to say is, this is an awkward place for a park director to be. We love parks. We love the green space. We like activities. Our problem is we don't have any money. We haven't had money. We haven't been supported for many years due to budget cuts. I mean, I think it wouldn't surprise anybody in this room if you have the choice between fire or police protection or parks, you're going to go with fire and police. We understand that. So we try to make the most of what we can do. We looked at the plan as a master plan through the whole city of Tulsa. We had to make choices. What we came up with was 21 pools and 20 recreation centers wasn't feasible in 2012 to get the funding for. So simply put, we don't have the operational funds. What we can do is we can turn around and we can make the best use of this. What worries me today is we can't just, these buildings and pools, we have 10 of them that have been closed for 10 years. My fear is if we don't move forward with some of these amenities, people are going to lose out, and the children in these areas and all over town aren't going to have the amenities that other kids have because those communities supported it.
And
so what I want to do is take baby steps.
You're going to have to communicate and work with that neighborhood to get to where you need to be.
And we've tried to do that, and I'm sure we will continue to have more conversations on that. But there's a difference with some of the communities we've gone into already, and you're going to be seeing that as we go in. It was a surprise to us, and I can't really blame Carolyn on anything because this is all new territory for all of us. So we come in and we find out this is the last place we really want to go to, Board of Adjustments. A park is a park, but we have to do this. So here we are, we're doing it, and what we find out is get through the conversation. The conversation is the building can't remain. So what are we going to do next? We look at the master plan and it tells us different options. My fear is if we don't do something and react, our message is going to be we do nothing and the neighborhood gets nothing, and so therefore they totally lose out on the other things that other parts of the city have. And that's what concerns me, because I feel like every child in Tulsa should have the opportunity to go to a water playground,